Hey, you came back. I didn't see you there. Well, as you can see, I've been working away here on my fabulous marble and onyx disc project. And obviously you've come back to check out to see what the progress is. Well, come and take a look. So as you can see, I've last week, at the end of last week, I made a kind of a spur of the moment decision. And I know that originally I had talked about this border as being proud or in line with the top of the beads. I'm not sure if I made sense or if I was clear on that, but that was originally my intention anyways. And I made in the middle of the night, I kind of woke up and, I had this idea, and it occurred to me that by dropping this as a recessed margin, it solves two dilemmas that I was dealing with. And I'll show you the one being that before I had dropped it, the amount of onyx on the side was a little bit too much. And I wasn't really happy with the fact that it looked like it was like a glued on chunk. So I wanted to reduce it to bring it back into more of a refined profile. So I dropped that back an eighth, or I guess in metric it would be what, a couple of mil, I guess, maybe 3 mil. And then what that does is that solves two problems. Is now the beads aren't shadowed, and it allows them to stand proud, which will cast an interesting light of shadow, right? So it'll help to illuminate the beads independently, which is an interesting idea. So as you can see, I've marked out 1/4 of the beading, and what I did was I made up a kind of a section just as a guide, a template of spacing. Then I can put that around, and I can keep on reapplying it because the pencil won't get rubbed off. So this is why because pencil is a very effective way to mark onto a light colored material, and it's a lot easier than trying to scratch in with a scriber your desired lines. That's why I'm using a pencil, and this allows me to keep on reapplying my lines if they get rubbed off, because this stuff wipes off quite easily. The next stage that I've then started doing was notching out to accept the drilled hole, which I had discussed in the last video, which will be a probe for the light. And when you look at ancient carvings, drilled holes are always an important part of accentuating the light, because they help to establish a depth that you would normally not be able to achieve with just carving. So I'm going to use the same technique here for elevating the beads and really distinguishing them. And I'm going to come in from both sides. I'm going to come in from the top, and I'm also going to come in from the side. So the objective for this is to provide just enough clearance for a small drill bit. And I'm just using a standard drill bit. I'm not even using a masonry bit. So first I was debating about showing this tool just because I'm not a big fan of gadgets. Let me just get this light set up here. Uh, yeah, I'm not typically a fan of gadgets, but I pulled out this tool that I had from when I was a teenager. This flex shaft that you put onto a drill, and there was a unique situation with this with the beading. I had explained about having to drill the holes, um, the probing holes for the lights, and it was the inner one that was going to be a challenge because the standard chuck on a drill is quite large in diameter. You can see the difference in diameter between the chuck on the flex shaft versus the actual drill. So no matter what I did, I would do, I would have a problem with the drill, which would cause me to have to uh, come in on a steep angle in order to clear the drill from the surface of the dish. So this flex shaft has actually solved that problem, and it's obviously not a tool that everybody's going to have. But if you can find one of these, I don't even know if they still make them or not, because this thing is about 30 years old. Um, but it's not a robust tool. It's not the kind of thing that's going to last a long time. But for occasional use, it actually does come in handy after all. So I was glad to bring it in because it actually has come in handy in this particular application. It's first time I've actually found a good use for it in all the years that I've had it. So yeah, so that's what I've been using, and control the RPMs with a variable speed drill quite nicely, and so it's got a small diameter chuck, and you can control the RPMs, which allows you to get into tight little areas, and you still have the same amount of torque behind it as the full size drill. So I've started out with a demonstration set here of beads, and though they're not complete, they're definitely working out exactly the way that I imagined them to. And I'm having a lot of fun. And all the techniques that you learn in carving and everything, the same techniques that are used to make this roping or the center carving, is exactly the same techniques that you use to make the beading, only in much more delicate details. But I think it's going to be a very exciting finish, and I just wanted to show that, and also show you how I'm making them. So the process for making a bead is pretty simple. What I've started out with doing is I've gone in and I've drilled with this flex shaft, the probing holes, and then I've gone in with a little hacksaw blade here. That actually, this is not a hacksaw blade. It's what are they called? Like a scroll saw or a hobby saw. I had a little pack of these, and I just cut the connecting ends off that stretched them through the frame. So I just cut them off on a nice angle so that I can get them into tight areas, and they work very well. And I just love the fact that they're just so thin, so they're great for doing details. So the next stage that I'm doing is cutting the section in between them, right, that defines the bead. And And I start them out with kind of going around in sets, right? So I'll go around and I'll slowly work them in groups, and I think that's probably the most efficient way to do them timing wise. So I'm just connecting the top with the inside. So I have a drill hole coming in from the bottom as well, and those 2 points establish the bead. So it's pretty simple, but this is just the technique that I'm using. Just like with the roping. And if you've been watching my channel long enough, I'm not sure how many people come back and watch multiple videos or not, but then you would have seen me doing the other details. Very similar process. You rough it out, and then you tighten it up with either a rub stone or a bit of sandpaper. In this case, because it's very delicate, very fine work, I'm going to use sandpaper. But traditionally, they would have used some kind of a rubbing stone before they had sandpaper. You can also use a very sharp chisel. So if you sharpen up a chisel razor sharp, you can do quite a lot of cleaning up of your work just using that in a scraping fashion. What's fun about this is because it's dimensional. It's not like just like carving a flat thing. It's actually almost venturing into the world of sculpting in that sense, which is probably why I'm having so much fun doing that. And then next you come in and clean up. I particularly like for these kind of tasks, I particularly like a skewed chisel. So I don't know if you can see this, but it's slightly angled, and it really allows you to tuck in and get around the tight areas. And usually a skewed chisel isn't necessarily made on purpose, but it's usually a chisel that when it's forged, one side is slightly thicker than the other. So naturally when you sharpen them, they end up taking on a slight skew pattern. So if you're making your own chisels and you don't get them perfectly the same on both sides, it actually works out in your favor. And you'll find that as you're sharpening them, you'll actually struggle with balancing out, keeping the cutting edge square. And this is quite an old chisel. This chisel here is about, I think we've been using this one for about 23 years. Yeah, I think it was made back in about 2002, and from a set that we made in 2002. It's made actually out of a garage door spring, which is a great source of chisel steel. And if you've ever seen a garage door, one of the overhead garage doors, the side springs, or is that what this gauge is? And you obviously get a lot out of a long spring, because I think those springs are probably about 3 feet long. So you can just imagine how many chisels you can get out of that, and it's top quality steel. Spring steel is always the best. And yeah, you get years of use out of a tool like that. And as they get worn down, you can always retemper them. Tempering is the hardening of the cutting edge. The whole tool isn't usually tempered, though in the case of spring steel, it's usually such high quality steel, you're going to get a pretty much a tough tool top to bottom. But you do have to break down the temper from the rest of the shaft, and then you just retemper just the tip. So it's a few days later, and I just wanted, before I conclude this video, just wanted to show the progress. I've just been working away at this little bit by little bit when I have time outside of the the regular schedule. But as you can see, it's starting to take shape. Starting to get nice and full shape from in underneath, and you can see they're starting to become nice and elevated. So there's a little bit more to be shaped, so that they take on a nice round shape. You can see there's still a little bit like squashed peas in a pod. I want them to look like full beads, nice and round all the way around. So that'll take a bit of time. But yeah, so I just wanted to show how it's coming along. I got almost a quarter done now, so it's not too bad. I really think it's going to be a stunning piece. Very pleased with it. I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and I know I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and well, that's enough for me. But yeah, if you like this kind of content, don't forget to like it, and come back for some more. I've got lots of really amazing projects coming up in the future, so once I get this little time consumer out of the way, then I'm sure that I can satisfy your interests in stone in the future. But yeah, come back for all things to do with stone, because I've got a lot of valuable information that I can pass on to people, and share my passion and my knowledge. So thanks for watching.